Hello, everybody. This is Mike.
And Beth.
And this is episode 99 of Hey, Are You Still There? And this time we're on location in beautiful, wonderful Decatur, Georgia.
It is also 1,000 degrees and kind of so humid that you might as well, I think, swim when you're outside through the air. You kind of, it's like moving through porridge or something.
I tested my friend Charles today and said it was hotter than 7 hells.
Yes, it is. I can't describe. And we can talk about it later, but we decided to do a lot of this weekend because I've been at work during the week. So you and Josh have had adventures, but we decided this weekend it'd be a great time to do outdoor activities.
Well,
we're outdoor people.
I almost didn't make it to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Because of you. We went, Beth took me. She could not wait. She had been dying all week to eat at this Indian restaurant.
Yes.
We ate there. It was fabulous.
And everybody's talked about it because every time I drove by, I was like, I just want like the butter chicken. And I wanted to see what kind of hot tea they had. And I'd heard it was good.
And it was called
Chai Pani, P-A-N-I.
There's one in Asheville, North Carolina.
Which I looked
also.
up. I don't know if they're all exactly the same, but I did see that. Yeah. But it was delish and
So
fun.
we eat all this Indian food, which is not the lightest food in the world. And then you and Josh are like, let's just walk back to the house. And I'm like, no, let's just get an Uber. Can we just get an Uber, get a Lyft? Let's just go back. And y'all are like, it's only 1.2 miles. We can walk it. It was all uphill and 1,000 degrees and about 1,000% humidity. We're drenched. It is awful. All because you didn't want to spend $12 to take an Uber.
Okay, number one, it has nothing to do with the Uber. Let's back up too. One thing that does make it worse too, though, is we're at our Airbnb and we washed the towels this morning, but you didn't remember to put them in the dryer.
It wasn't my responsibility.
It was because I said,
not.
Well, I know you made it clear because I said, can you put the towels in the dryer? And you said yes. And you said that I didn't ask you to put them in there. I just asked if you were like capable of doing it.
I was capable.
Anyway.
I didn't know you wanted me to.
So he didn't. So now we're waiting for our towels to dry so that we could shower. But it had nothing to do.
So Beth and I are sitting here partially clothed, dripping sweat.
It has nothing to do with paying for the Uber. This is a long-standing thing. Like when we were on our Europe trip, Maria, Josh, and I would be like, let's walk. And you have tight calf muscles as your excuse. Even though you were, quote, training for a 5K, you didn't want to walk back this 1 mile walk. It was a walk. And I tried to explain to you how good it is for your digestion to take a walk like that. You are, after you shower and are clean, you're going to
pooped my pants twice walking up those hills.
No, you're going to feel better after this. Like you're just going to feel like everything, it helps like insulin resistance and digestion and everything to do this. So I'm just saying but the thing I will add, we should just go backwards a little bit. I think one thing that did make it a little worse is we went to a 1:30 p.m. Braves game. So our seats were in the sun for the first, I don't know, half of the game. In the blazing sun, everybody, like, I kid you not, when I sat down on the seat, thank goodness we had done this registration thing and got a free like Chevrolet t-shirt or something. I had to sit on it because it would have probably given me like 3rd-degree burns on my legs. The seat was so hot. And then I couldn't even sit back against the seat because it was so hot. So we just sat there and would just sweat. I mean, just sweat dripping down all of us. It was so hot. So, I mean, yeah, I'll give you, we had been hot and everything, but anyway, we don't want to get off topic because we did have an interesting conversation with our taxi driver that drove us, and we've got other things we can talk about.
Let's just go back. Why are we in Decatur, Georgia, of all places?
Yes, my job. So, as we talked about on the podcast, I have a new job, and so I finished 3 weeks of work. In the first 2 weeks, because it was right around July 4th and everything, I did those remotely. But now I am here for 2 weeks to go into work. So you and Josh came with me to keep me company last week, and you had all sorts of adventures and actually went in person to work at Emory School of Medicine. And I have an office there and all that stuff. So
And they were very nice. They had put flowers in your office
Yes.
and welcome Beth. And
it was really,
already had your name on the plate.
yes, it was really neat. You could put those pictures in there if people want to see. But yes, as soon as I came in, they showed me where my office was, and I had my name and title already on the door for my office. And I had a little jar of flowers, really like mixed flowers, and then had a welcome Beth sign. And they just kept checking on me and making sure I was okay. And I'm doing a lot of in-person meetings. So for my job, I will not only work with people at Emory University, but also Emory University School of Medicine. And then in certain departments, like I'll work with people in HR, for example, at Emory School of Medicine, but also HR at Emory Health System. I'll work with the legal department. I'll work with all the chairs who run, like chair of pediatrics, chair of surgery. So I am going around and meeting all these people in person. And some of them are coming to the School of Medicine to meet me, but for a number of them, I'm going to the hospital. And oh my gosh, just one thing, and you can speak to what you saw on the campus too, but it is such a pretty campus. And Wake School of Medicine's really cool now because Wake has one in an old tobacco factory and it's got a lot of light and stuff, but Emory's buildings are older too. And what's so crazy about their School of Medicine, like at Wake, the hospital is kind of downtown and the School of Medicine's like maybe 10 minutes away from the hospital. And then the university is about 10 minutes away from the School of Medicine. At Emory, literally, you walk out the front of the School of Medicine, you walk down the sidewalk, and you walk into this building that looks like the School of Medicine building. It looks like just a normal, older, like college building, but it's the hospital. And when you walk in, it's the bougiest lobby I've ever seen. You walk through security and there's like these black and white tile floors and these nice ceilings. But like so many hospitals, one thing that's crazy about hospitals, I think those are some of the only places that when you change buildings because the floor changes. You're in this tower when you have black and white tile. You've transitioned to this other tower when you have this other floor. But they have all these new clinics and parts of the hospital that have been built on. And so they have on the second floor all of these walkways that like cross the street and cross off. I mean, it's really hard to describe, but it's really, really a neat hospital. The Emory Hospital is this right there on campus. And it just feels so bizarre because the hospital is literally right in the middle of Emory's campus. But
yeah, Emory University, we've never been there before.
No.
It is gorgeous. The
Yeah.
campus is gorgeous. It looks like it's been put in the center of a city park.
Yeah.
There's trees everywhere. There's brick streets. It's just gorgeous. And everything around the campus, it obviously keeps up with it.
Yes.
Right outside the campus, Josh and I found the bougiest Panera we had ever seen in our life. I mean, whenever they built it, they kept the theme of what Emory looks like. And so it doesn't look like a normal Panera. Everything's gorgeous. I mean, everything around it is beautiful. It is. Emory's, I don't know. I love Decatur. Decatur, the city, is gorgeous.
The other thing about Emory, and I talked about this a little bit when I interviewed, I think, or said something, but like, it's also crazy because it's like, you can see from the School of Medicine, some of the people's offices look out at like part of the Atlanta skyline. So it's very bizarre because you're on this campus in the middle of this like little, I don't know, community, like you said, with all these trees and 2-lane streets and stuff. Now, granted, they get a lot of traffic, but still, but you're right at Atlanta. It just feels so strange.
You're 7 miles from downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't even feel like it. Like,
right.
you don't even Atlanta might as well be 100 miles away.
Right. Yeah, because it feels like you're in a completely different planet. And the same thing with Decatur. Decatur's actually its own town, and it's like one of the closer places. Druid Hills, and those are areas you can stay and be really close to Emory, because you do want to be really close, because even though it's 7 miles, it could take you like 30 minutes or something to get to work. But and the one thing, the bad things though about Emory, like many college campuses, parking is far away. So like your parking, you might have to park so far away that you have to take a shuttle, or you have to park really far away and walk, which in the spring and the fall, I'm sure will be delightful. But right now when it's 1,000 degrees, like even for me, just walking across campus to get like my ID badge, I came back and I was sweating. I'm not like a person who glistens or whatever, like some women. I was sweating. Like it's really, really, it's hot, and stuff. But you saw the hospital and the grounds, and went to a museum that I haven't seen yet, an Egypt museum.
It's
like more than Egypt.
It's some kind of I don't even know what kind of museum it is. It has a name. It's like the Michael C. Lawson Museum. I don't know, something, whatever it may be. But it's full of artifacts.
Yeah.
And so there's all this artifacts and pottery from Rome, from Greece, from Asia, we're all over. But then they do have a big, right now, Egypt exhibit where they have all these mummies, and they have stuff on loan from other museums. And so Josh and I went there one day, but it's right there. It's part of the campus also. It's right there.
It's in the middle of
campus.
It's like a museum. And then I walked by the outside of it. But then also there's like that little nature preserve or whatever. Yeah. I haven't been in it, but we drove by it. And the CDC is right there. So we were able to see
the CDC every day. Yeah. Taking you to work.
And on Tuesdays, there tend to be some protesters out there. And they had some creative signs.
Some really good signs. I don't even know what they're trying to save at the CDC, but their signs were funny.
Their signs are awesome.
They were witty.
They were good signs. But then in Decatur, that's where we have this little Airbnb that I would say you could easily walk to stuff, but according to Mike, maybe not so easily to walk.
It's a mile from downtown Decatur.
Yeah.
It's a little too far for me to walk, but somebody like you, maybe.
But we have been like blown away by the food. Now,
it is a foodie capital. I'm telling you what, if you love food, Decatur has the best restaurants per capita of any city I've ever been to in my life.
But really quick, before we get to that, though, let's talk about one thing, though, that it makes it a little difficult. We looked up this little Airbnb we're in. It's a historic house. I don't know how old it is.
It was built in 1937.
Yeah, so 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It's cute, but it is... not anything. It's an older home.
Yeah, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,100 square feet.
Yeah, and it's valued at over $500,000. And we looked up the tax value. Now, this is when we said Mike's dad would have lost his mind, because Greensboro went up on their taxes. I don't remember how much did they go up.
Not this much.
Enough that your dad was very upset. But we looked back and it was something like in 2023 taxes on this place. Now, the tax value had not changed. The tax value for this house was only like $150,000. And in 2023, the taxes were something like, wasn't it like $3,000 or so?
It was like in 1,000. It was like $1,500.
Yeah, it was $1,500
a year.
Then 1 year later, it jumped to $11,000. And the tax value stayed the same. And then the next year it jumped to $15,000. And we were just like, can you imagine buying a house that the tax value is, so the reason I also point this out about the tax value only being like 150, there are a lot of houses that the tax value is a lot more than that. Yeah. I cannot comprehend what those people are paying in taxes. One other aside.
So this little house, old 90-year-old house, 1,100 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, is valued at over $500,000.
Yes.
And you're paying $15,000 a year in taxes.
Yes, even though the tax value is only $150,000. And so I say all that to say, because the other thing is, when we went to eat, we got the bill, because the restaurants are pricey. Most of them have been pricey.
You and Josh aren't cheap eaters.
No, we're not. Josh and I, it's like my dad. My dad loves good food. My dad loves to go get a good steak or he just likes to eat good food. And Josh and I like to eat good food and we like to try new foods. And so we went one night to this place, Kimball House, which is known for their raw oyster bar and things like that. And we tried these different foods.
It was a Michelin star restaurant.
Yes, which we were super excited about because we've been watching The Bear. And so we really wanted that experience. And it lived up to it. It was amazing. Our waiter had memorized everything. There was no question you could ask him that I felt like he couldn't answer. And it was funny too. He said that they've had over 700 different oysters in there, raw oysters. And they have one guy and his job is he describes what they taste like. So it might be this tastes like chicken with paprika or something crazy, for the raw oysters. But anyway, the taxes, they had a Decatur tax, a Georgia food tax, a something tax. I mean,
it was $40 in taxes.
In taxes on our meal.
On that one meal.
Yeah. It we were what happened? It blew our mind. And so I'd say all that to say so many cool things, but for small town country girl like me, I was the taxes have
I don't know how you live
blown
here.
me away. I don't either. I don't know how anybody affords to live here with the taxes and then.
But I'm not above trying.
Yeah, Mike drives by and sees all these places and is
I've already been looking up stuff. I'm let's just sell our house
and just
and let's just buy a little house here.
He's ready. But there's also a neat not a neat, it's just a strange trend. They have a lot of these square rectangle type houses. They're 2 stories or so, and they're very boxy.
They look like what you would make as a kid out of Legos.
Yeah. And it's really weird because you'll have this historic house and then one of those very modern boxy houses right beside it.
Lots of windows.
Yeah.
Very neutral colors.
Yeah.
A gray, a black, and a brown is on the outside. And it looks like a box.
Yeah. So it's just kind of bizarre. And then we've also been here with a lot of the soccer folks, Argentina people that were here to see the games. And so there's been a lot of soccer activity and stuff and watch parties and things as you go down the street and see stuff and traffic. The other bad thing would be you said you think you walk around with your jaw clenched when you have to drive here just because the driving is
those first couple of days driving around.
We weren't even in Atlanta.
I had a stress headache from clenching my jaw just from the driving around.
Yeah. It's it's kind of crazy, the traffic and everything. And you can't, it seems very unpredictable. Now, granted, I've only done a week of work, but there'll be some days you look and it's oh, I'll get here in this amount of time. And then other times, I don't know, it seems like it takes a lot longer. It just seems very unpredictable. And some of the people I work with, this is one of the things that's so mixed. I think Emory School of Medicine is battling what every employer is. They really want to get more people in the office, and they're trying to get most people to come in at least on Tuesdays, and some come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but they try to get a lot of people there on Tuesdays. And they'll try to do sometimes bagels or, a brunch or something. But one of the ladies told me that her commute's an hour and 40 minutes. So she commutes an hour and 40 minutes and then she has to park. She's over 15 minutes away from where she parks and stuff. So it's no joke. If you don't live, and I think that's why it's so expensive because this area where we are is so close to things like that, to Emory Hospital, to Emory University, to all those things. So it just drives up the prices and stuff. So yeah. But we've eaten some really cool different foods. We had Thai food, we had the raw oyster stuff, we've had Indian food. And all these restaurants are there's an Argentinian restaurant, there's a
that pizza joint we had yesterday was unbelievable.
It was authentic Southern Italy, inspired pizza. Yeah. It's just been crazy, the food that we find. We haven't had a bad meal yet.
No.
And I don't know that I ever say that, about anything, except maybe the Chick-fil-A coming down here. Sorry, Chick-fil-A, but I thought it was too salty. But anyway. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the food's been great. Decatur's great. It's
Yeah.
a neat town. I mean, I wish it was more affordable.
I do too.
It's lovely.
Yeah, is real. And I also do like the walkability, it's really nice to feel like if you didn't want to get in your car. Now, granted, I couldn't walk if I had to be dressed for work or something when it's like this and you're going to be nice. But I mean, it's nice to be able to be like, it'd be a lot easier to incorporate exercise in if I was like, I'm going to walk up to the coffee shop in the morning, get my coffee, walk back to my house, and then go to, get showered and go to work or something. It is nice to be in a place that is so walkable.
Yeah.
That part's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have, so talk a few of your adventures, yours and Josh's.
Yeah, so while you've been at work being wined and dined by all these new people that are chomping at the bit to meet the great Beth Mabe Giannopoulos, Josh and I have kind of been on our own and kind of been having our own adventures. A couple of them that I'll highlight. I won't do everything, but we went to the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library.
And I'm so jealous. And during one of my times here, I have to find time when it's open, when I can go.
It was never even on my radar. I didn't even have it on my radar when we were coming down here.
Yeah.
It was just Josh and I, we may have been sitting at Panera one morning, and I was like, oh, let's see what's around here. And I was like, oh, the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library opens in 5 minutes. We should go. Let's just, when are we going to get to go to a presidential library? And so we went. I loved it. It was fabulous. Josh loved it. It was inspiring. It was enlightening. He's just a good man. And he was, and most people will say he wasn't a great president, but he's a great human being. And that's what you kind of get from his presidential library. They don't try to, make him out to be more than he was as president, but they really lean into what strong character he had and what an amazing man. And he was beloved, not just by our own country, certain people in this country, but, reading this stuff and seeing the gifts he got from other countries, that just leaders who just really respected him.
And you and Josh told me, we talked about it a lot at dinner that night, everything he did for peace and how much he did after he was president.
Yeah, he did more after presidency.
The major impacts he made, like negotiating peace between a lot of these countries and just the success he had. But what was that quote he had about after 4 years?
He was,
was witty.
It was pretty good. He said, in one of the video, I guess the introductory video, they were showing, they were playing stuff, and he was obviously still alive when they made this video, but he said, well, when I involuntarily retired 4 years earlier than I wanted to, I had to do something. And I thought that was kind of funny.
But the thing that's so crazy is that visit that y'all had, you were telling me about a lot of things he did. And so it inspired this whole conversation where we were talking about just like the books he wrote, what his wife did. Like she did a lot to destigmatize, you said, mental illness and things. So it's really made me want to read about them.
Yeah, his wife was very involved in not just his presidency, but just in a lot of his humanitarian efforts.
Yeah.
I mean, just an insane amount. I mean, it was amazing.
But when y'all were tell me that. So we just talked about like how, I was like, the thing is, I don't know that he's one of those people that I have not ever heard any like dirt or bad stuff about, to your point, like about being a good man. And the craziest thing happened to us today. So when we were leaving the Braves game, we were waiting for an Uber, but it was taking forever. So this guy drives up in a taxi and he's like, hey, I'll give you a ride. And so we get in with him and we find out he's from Jamaica and he's actually from close to Bluefields where we do our work. So he was telling us all about the hurricane and his brother and all that stuff. Well, then in the middle of the conversation, he's like, yeah, and I met President Carter. And we're like, what? And then he tells this whole story about how he used to work at Delta. We aren't clear I think he did something on like the plane when people are getting off for like certifying, like, I don't know.
He did some kind of plane inspection.
Yeah.
Like on the planes. And because he said he would have to go fill out a form and go lay it in the cockpit for the pilot to see that he was signed off, that everything had been checked.
Right. And so he said that President Carter was on that plane.
Touring it. It was a brand new plane or new. It was some kind of, and so President Carter came as a representative with some Delta officials to tour this new plane.
And then stopped this guy and basically asked him where he was from. When he found out he was from Jamaica, talked about how when he was in college and younger, how much he loved Jamaica, and then gave him what he said, a presidential pin that has the number on it. And then he said, and then he asked him if he could pray for him, and prayed for this guy.
He said he put his hand on his shoulder and prayed for him.
Yeah. And then when he left, he said the Secret Service were like, what did he talk to you about or whatever? But he said that he was so like shaken up, like in a good way. I think so stunned, because he's just like, I'm just here like doing this inspection on this plane, and the former president of the United
Jimmy
States,
Carter talked to him for 5 minutes.
Yeah, just like,
and then at the end
talked to me and prayed for me.
Can I pray for you?
Yeah, and so that was a really neat thing to hear when we had just had that conversation about, like you guys going to that library and everything. So that was just one of those really interesting stories.
Yeah, it's definitely made me want to.
It makes me want to read some of his books.
I hate to say that any president is forgettable,
right?
But a lot of those one-termers they don't have the staying power,
right?
And so he's just one of those guys that was just kind of like, yeah, Jimmy Carter was president, but at least in our generation, even though we were kids at the time,
he was not,
gosh, he was president from 76 to 80. We were 2 to 6 years old.
And since Reagan came right after him, I was old enough to remember like Rambo Reagan or whatever, and that was during like the Cold War.
He had a much bigger personality.
Yeah, and that so much was going on in the world, like Cold War and stuff. And we were just older to remember. So that's why I think with Carter, I knew about him. I always knew about him as a peanut farmer. I'd always heard he was a good man, but I just didn't know the extent of what he did. So this is going to make me go read some stuff, I think.
Well, they had all this stuff plastered, all these quotes by him all over the place. I read this quote. I took a picture of it because I thought it was so profound. Mm-hmm. He said, "My feeling is that if we refuse to try something that might fail, we lack faith, either in ourselves or in our cause and our goals."
That is a really cool quote.
Again, my feeling is that if we refuse to try something that we might fail, we lack faith in ourselves or in our causes and our goals.
Mm-hmm. Because how many times do we have people that we talk to that have these dreams or these ideas, and like they're really good, but then they just don't.
They hit a roadblock and then they give up.
Yeah, or they just don't believe in themselves.
So you don't believe in yourself enough to pull it off, or you don't think the cause is worth it.
Yeah. In the end, you just kind of give up and you're like, well, it's too much. It'll be too hard or too much work or too much risk or whatever. And you don't do it. Yeah.
So anyway, if you're down here near Atlanta, I highly recommend the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library.
And you said that outside there's a gardens that's pretty,
there's
free.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what y'all said it costs to go in.
$10. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Josh got it free.
Yeah.
Being a student.
Very inexpensive. Yeah.
I mean, it was great. Just great. The other thing that I love down here in Atlanta, Josh and I went, was the Atlanta Zoo. This may be my favorite zoo on the planet.
And that kind of shocks me because I just remember going to the Atlanta Zoo years and years ago and just thinking parts of it. They've probably expanded some of the habitats, but because it was a city zoo, I remember feeling kind of sad for some of the animals because as much as I like to be up close and personal and see an animal, I always look at the habitat and I want to know, like the North Carolina Zoo is amazing because it's one of the largest zoos, kind of like the San Diego Wild Animal Park.
I think the North Carolina Zoo is now the largest zoo in the country.
Yeah.
It's like a wild animal park.
Because they have a lot of land.
Acres and acres of just elephants for them to run.
And you're just going to have to walk and walk to get to the right spot to see the elephants, and you may not see them because
they're on the other, they're 2 acres away.
Which I appreciate that. I mean, I'm sad if I don't see what I want to see, but I like knowing that the animals are getting as close to the habitat naturally as they can. But you said it was great.
Oh, it was awesome. It was so good. You get so close to the animals. They have such great variety of animals. The animals are well taken care of. That day, it was not crowded at all. I mean, we went like on a Tuesday or something, Wednesday, I don't know. But, there was nobody there. It was it was great. I mean, the Atlanta Zoo is remarkable. It's fabulous. So I would recommend that too.
And you said y'all stayed how long there?
Like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not a lot of walking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a zoo in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right in Grant Park, and it you got a lot of space. I mean, it's not. So they pack a lot into that zoo, and it is well worth whatever it costs to go. So we highly recommend the zoo and the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library. Both those that were remarkable.
I went with you guys to the Natural Science Center, which we had taken our kids. We remembered the play area and stuff.
Oh, the Natural History Museum.
Natural History Museum, which is good, but I think probably the most enjoyable for a younger crowd. Like when our kids were like elementary and stuff, I think they have a fabulous time. It was nice, but again, it was 1,000 degrees. The outdoor part through the trees was hot and stuff. And then we drove down to the Science Center, which was under a lot of...
Which is free.
Yeah.
And probably overpriced at that. They try to do a lot with the little. I mean, it leaves a little to be desired, but it's a science center and it's free for kids. Free for everybody.
When we were in, what country were we in that we went to that science center that was also like that? Because Josh had gone to the Vienna Natural History Museum and gotten so excited. And then we were at, it was Budapest. And we took an Uber and went, and it was free. And we're like, what? This is free? And then we get in and we're like, okay, I kind of see why it's free. So we did that. And then the other thing that we all did do is one day you guys picked me up after work, and family favorite of ours is always the Atlanta Aquarium, which is known as, now I've been to the Monterey Aquarium years and years ago, pre-COVID, which is in California. And it's got a lot of jellyfish exhibits that are really amazing. But the Atlanta Aquarium, I think we looked it up, it's the only aquarium in the United States that has whale sharks. There are some in like China and some places like that. But just has these massive, massive tanks of fish. And
they got beluga whales, they got
dolphins, sea lions,
whale sharks, like
puffins,
you said,
like everything,
It's a massive aquarium, and it is.
And my favorite was we went down to where the sharks are, and I did not think this would be my favorite, but there was this, 1,000 of these little white fish in a school. And they were swimming sort of in this swirling pattern.
They were in a big circle, just circling.
Yeah, just circling. And then every once in a while, a shark would kind of swim by them, and all of them would move in unison. It's like when you've watched videos, what are the birds that travel in those big flocks and make the shapes, that change? That I was mesmerized. I could have just sat and watched that. But we highly recommend doing what we did around 6 o'clock. I think everybody starts to leave. It closes at 9, but if you get there at 6, it gives you enough time to see it all, and there's no crowd. Now, when we arrived, it was crowded because, there were so many people, and
we got there around 5:30.
Yeah, I can imagine how crowded it was.
You got to make reservations for a show. 6 o'clock is the last show. It's a dolphin show.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the dolphin show at 6. And then it emptied out, and 2/3 of the people left.
Yeah.
And so it was really nice after that. You could get right up to the exhibits and look. My favorite part, though, was after we parked, you and Josh left me as I was trying to pay for parking.
It was thundering.
It started raining.
Yes.
You guys left me there in the rain paying for parking. And then I turn around. I'm like, where did y'all go? I get down to the street. I can't find you. I cross the street, and then I look, and y'all are way down the sidewalk, the two of you, going the wrong direction. And I had to yell for you, and I'm like, the entrance is down here. And Josh is the one who led you up there.
I had not taken my umbrella because I thought it was right there. Y'all had said the entrance is right there. And I'm still, by the way, because I've worked all day, I'm in my work clothes. I'm in a dress and sandals.
But somehow, the fact that you went the wrong way, it started raining, and you didn't have an umbrella was all my fault.
I never said that.
Yes, you did. You're like, Michael, why didn't you tell me I needed an umbrella? Michael, why did you tell us it was up there? I was like, I didn't say it was
No,
up
I
there.
didn't. I just said I would have brought my umbrella if I had
Multiple
known
times.
this.
It was very passive aggressive. Well, Michael, I'd have brought this if I knew this. I'm like, I never said anything.
Yeah. Anyway, that was, quite exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. You were just hot.
Well, yeah. One other, I don't know why I just thought of this tidbit, but one of the things about like my job I've learned, I was going to say too, about being here in this area, because you do have Emory University right here, like their School of Medicine gets a ton of like grant funding and does a lot of research. And there's just a lot of really smart people. And I think I'd forgotten, we were talking about this balance of being in the office and out of the office. This is a place that if I lived here, I would want to be going in some, but not every day because of the traffic. But there's just like when I go and sit down and talk to these people, like they're just brilliant people and you can just have these great conversations with them and stuff. But
yeah, and I think as a leader and a creative myself, like there's certain times when I go to meetings that are a waste of time.
yes. And
But
you're
then
like, why am I here? I could have done this.
Sometimes I go and I come back just like, why can't I meet with people like that all the time?
Yes.
That are just, that get it, that just
Yes.
are doing things outside the box, that are leading
Yes.
in a different kind of way. And it's just, you leave just feeling inspired, but also like, okay, I found some people that I can click with, so I get you, I understand that. And I think you've been, missing that, having to work from home, it's different to being on Zoom.
It is.
But
because on a Zoom, you can still have some of the like impromptu conversations, but it just isn't as organic, There's
and
just
I don't
a different
think,
feel.
I don't care what you can never have somebody's full attention on Zoom.
Yeah.
You just can't.
It
They're
feels
going
like
to
they're
be
always like looking at something else,
something-
or distracted.
and if they click off the video, they ain't even, they're doing something completely different. Or if your video's never on, it's just their picture.
Yeah.
They're just listening to you in the background.
Yeah.
And so when you're sitting down with someone face to face, and you're able to ask them questions and hear their stories, and it's like, man, this is what I've been missing.
And like two things that happened, like one of the people that I talked to, there were three of us there was me and two other people. Somehow we ended up on the topic of like, you and Josh had taken the MARTA, the bus, and it had been really delayed. And so we were talking about like, the impact that has socially and economically on people that have to rely on public transportation. But I got on this, like the most random topic ever that had nothing to do with my job, but it was intellectually stimulating because we had also, it was just crazy that the conversation with these people took this turn because you and Josh and I had also talked about like what lack of good transportation can do to people's job opportunities or ability to keep a job and things like that. So I had that conversation. And then another person that I met with, one of the ladies I work with, just said, oh, if you're meeting with so-and-so, because I was meeting with her right before I was meeting with him, she was like, be sure to ask about his birds. So I go in thinking like he's going to have like a parakeet or something. This guy has been a falconer for 40 years. And he was a science major, kind of like Jacob in like wildlife biology and all that stuff in undergrad, but now I guess has a PhD. I didn't ask him about all his degrees, but like is not using that, but is using it in his interest. And so he told me about this owl that he had, and he let somebody take it to breed with it, and now it's laid 6 eggs, and he may get 2 of the eggs. And he just talked about falconry and just what he's done with it. But I'm just like, that's the kind of stuff that like you're just like, oh, those organic experiences that just happen by running into somebody or somebody telling you something about somebody. And I think that's the other piece. Like one of the ladies that I'm going to work with a lot, she was saying something like she was happy I was there because she felt like I was a real person, like with a life outside of work, And I was like, well, I bring my true self to work, like pretty much I mean, everybody, of course, you have circumstances where you're more professional or more fun or more laid back. But I mean, the person I am at work is not dramatically different than the person I am at church or the person I am anywhere else. And it just feels stifling to think that you can't be that. And I just think about how enriching and interesting it is, like meeting these people and finding out some of these people have these crazy cool interests and hobbies and stuff. And I think that's the thing. I don't know what's going to happen in our world and our society, because like, despite all this, I say all this about how great it is, but every employer I know is having huge challenges getting people consistently back in the office. And even if and I'm not advocating for having people in the office all the time. Absolutely not. I mean, I think there are days when like it's ridiculous for me to go to the office, particularly if you're going to the office and sitting on Zoom. And I guess that's where I'm going with this conversation. Like when you were in the office doing productive things because you needed to be in the office and working with people, that's a different dynamic than just going to your office and sitting on Zoom calls, which is kind of what the post-COVID world has turned into. But being in this new job, everybody wants to meet you in person, so, it's created this different dynamic. And I've just forgotten like what it felt like to have all those, in-person interactions with really interesting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been a really good week. And so we've done a lot of nice things.
And then the Braves game today was outside of being 1,000 degrees was fun.
We haven't been to a Braves game, I don't think, since like 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Somewhere's around in there. So it's been a while, 6 or 7, 8 years.
And when we went, the stadium was really new.
Yeah, it opened in 2017, I believe.
And they
so
were
I know we went
kinks.
that year.
Yeah.
And I believe we may have gone 1 year after
I think
that.
we did too. Yeah.
We went with Charles and Charlene 1 year.
Yeah. But they didn't have all the underground, not the underground, the battery park. They didn't have all that.
Up,
yeah.
And now it's pretty much complete. And it is awesome. I mean, it's recognized as the blueprint of what now new Major League ballparks want to be like. I mean, it's great. I mean, they've got everything you can imagine all around the park. They've basically built his own entertainment and food and
the reason I liked it is you're able, if you had to park but like we Ubered there, we were able to get there early, walk around, go sit down, have water. We got like some pretzel bites, because it's hot, like sit somewhere cool at a restaurant, then wander around and look at a few things, go through security. There was no line when we went in, get right to our seats. But also when we left, one of our ideas, I knew there was going to be surge pricing for the Ubers because everybody was going to be leaving, was like, we could just go sit somewhere, and there was tons of people doing that. Like there were people in that area hanging out that may not have even been to the Braves game. People just going and watching the soccer game.
Yeah, there was lots of restaurants that had soccer games on.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had good seats. The Braves game was fun.
Some home runs.
A bunch of home
runs.
Lots of home
runs.
Braves won.
Yeah, it was.
So it was fun. It was good to be back.
You were briefly on the big screen, sort of
you too.
Swinging your shirt around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got on. They were
not
playing
the shirt that he had on. He didn't take
that. Would have been amazing.
No, we had the extra shirts.
They were playing jump around, and me and the two kids in front of me. I say kids. They were like teenagers.
Yeah.
Started jumping around and being crazy, and they put us on the big screen, and you got to be on there a little bit videoing.
Videoing you with you swirling our shirts on the big screen. So,
whatever it takes.
So one other thing you have to talk about briefly, I don't know if you had it on your list, but I didn't go, but you and Josh had another concert experience.
We did. And so we had 2 experiences in one night. The first was our Uber ride.
Oh, gosh, yes, I can't believe I forgot this.
From our house to downtown Atlanta.
And I was so jealous because I ordered the Uber for you.
Yeah, so to give some backstory, when we first got here to Decatur, Buckhead to Decatur area, we kept seeing these white cars that had
this
black
top,
just giant black thing on the roof
That almost
that
looked
turned.
like an old
It turned.
siren, like a
Yeah.
police car. Or we thought it was a Google car.
We thought it was a Google mapping
But-
car.
yeah,
Because the
yeah.
thing on the top was spinning.
Mhm.
There was like these satellite things on all four corners.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, okay, they're mapping out this street.
Yeah.
But then we kept seeing them, multiple ones of them. And we're like, what are they mapping?
Yeah.
And so I looked it up, and it's not mapping cars. They are driverless, self-driving Ubers.
Yeah.
They were Jaguars, which are super expensive cars anyway.
Yeah.
And then they've added all this stuff to it. So it's like
I didn't realize it was a Jaguar.
yeah. So I looked it up price-wise. You can't buy one of these, obviously, as a private person. But the Jaguar itself that they use sells for $75,000. All the satellite stuff they put on it is another $100,000. So this self-driving car is $175,000 Uber.
You got to give a lot of Uber rides to get your money back on that,
Right?
don't you? Yeah. Are they electric or gas?
It seemed like it was probably a hybrid of some sort,
Okay.
but there was definitely electric because I
Yeah.
saw the gauge that had the battery going
Okay.
down.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it's not costing them anything.
Yeah.
You know, once you pay the initial
Yeah,
cost, you're just
it's
charging
all-
it.
yeah.
So Beth orders us a driverless Uber.
But what had happened was I'm sitting there and I'm like, I order it and I'm like, oh, it says it'll be here in 10 minutes. And then I was like, it popped up and it was like, do you want a driverless car? And you were like, yes, you and Josh are so excited. And I was like, okay. And so I walked out with you guys and it was bizarre because when it first rolled up, it kept rolling a little bit. And we were like, is it going to stop? You know? And it did.
Yeah.
And then how did you get in the door? I
I
can't
just
remember.
opened it. And
Just opened
we
it,
and
yeah.
got in.
And then y'all got in. And so you both get in the back.
Yeah. And then we
And-
buckle up, and it gives us this whole speech about sit back, relax, do not touch the steering wheel, do not do any of this stuff. In the back seat, you had your own touch screen. You can control music, you control the climate, all of that stuff right there. And then it drove us 30 minutes to downtown Atlanta.
And the steering wheel moves and stuff because y'all videoed
just like
it,
a real
the
car. It's like
Yeah.
a ghost was driving the car.
Because you said too, somebody walked out in front one time or something, and it.
Well, somebody was standing in the street. They had just obviously done some like weed eating or something. So they were kind of in the street with their leaf blower blowing some stuff. And it was going 25, 30 miles an hour. And it just kind of went around them like it wasn't nothing. Like, I'm telling you, it drove better. I'll say this. We've been in a couple of human Ubers.
Yes.
It drove better than any of the human drivers we've had
Yeah,
on this trip.
because it wasn't speeding, it wasn't weaving into other lanes, it wasn't slamming on brakes, it wasn't. Yeah.
Our taxi driver today, God bless him, because he was a good man.
was so
he
nice.
was super nice. He
was quite the multitasker.
he was. We got in. He was listening. Today was the finals of the World Cup.
Yeah,
So he was listening to the finals of the World Cup at a volume level of full blast.
yes. Like I
It was
needed. I felt
so
like I was at a concert
loud.
and needed earplugs.
So he asked me something about it or yelled at me, hey, are you watching the World Cup, Mom? Or whatever. And I was like, yeah. And so I talked to him a little just briefly about it. And he was like, oh, it's so good to have a passenger that understands. Not that I understand anything,
Yeah,
really. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, but
mhm.
I fake it till I make it. So then I pulled out my phone. I pulled up the World Cup and I showed it to him. He got so excited. He pulled out this little compartment thing. He set my phone up there. So now he's driving
In Atlanta.
in Atlanta watching the World Cup.
On the highway.
I was like, I'll hold it. He was like, no, man, I got this. And he's like,
on the highway with stop and go traffic.
yes. And then when I found out he was from from Jamaica, and we told him we knew that area,
Yeah.
and that's where we go to serve. We started talking about the hurricane. He pulls out, first of all, the only thing he had to map was his phone.
Yes.
He shuts down the GPS and goes to his photos and starts, while he's driving, watching the World Cup, scrolling on his phone to pull up pictures to show me pictures of his family's houses in Jamaica.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
what is going on?
And then at one point we do almost have an accident. That actually wasn't his fault, miraculously, when somebody like merges
Yeah,
really
they
fast
pulled over
and
in
almost
front of him
slams
pretty
into it. But
quickly.
yeah.
So
But yeah, so your other driver.
the driverless car was better than any driver I had.
The other thing that was crazy is they always, since I had ordered it on my app, when you guys got there, it popped up. It was like, rate your trip. And then I was like, oh, it didn't, automatic. I'm like, oh, it didn't ask for a tip, because I'm always like tipping the Uber driver. And I'm like, oh, I guess you don't tip a driverless car.
I told that to Josh. I was like, we ain't got to tip this thing.
Yeah, they're probably going to be people that want those just for that because they don't have to.
Yeah, but it was great. I would take it everywhere. Yeah. I wish I could own one. If I owned one and it sat in my driveway, I would just be like, take me wherever. Take me to Panera.
Take me to Food Line.
Yeah. It would be awesome.
Yeah, take me to church.
I would
take me to Hope Center.
I might pay $150,000 for it.
You'd be like, take me to Decatur, Georgia. Take me to the Braves.
Well, think about that. Would you pay $150,000? Let's say these things you could buy them privately now.
Mm-hmm.
Would you pay $150,000 for a car that you would plug in the charge, so you ain't paying gas, that you could just sit in the back seat and say, take me here? You wouldn't have to drive to Atlanta anymore. Think about road trips. You're not having to worry about, I don't know, you stressing over the traffic of driving, trips to the store where you're just like, sometimes we're like, oh, I need to go get this. I don't feel like going.
it.
But it's not that we don't feel like going to the store. We don't feel like drive to the store.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it? To me, it is.
Well, but here's the thing I did have questions about. Like, I was wondering, because our driver today talked about people, that drink, and he had bags in his car in case people got too intoxicated and stuff. But what if somebody's like thrown, I guess they have video. Like, you don't have anybody in there to look back.
It does.
And be
It says in there, this whole cabin is on video.
Because the other thing I wondered, so one was like, what if somebody trashed the car or started to do something? Like, what if you had a kid or an inattentive parent that's letting a toddler or a dog, I don't know, come into the driver's seat? What would happen? And the other thing I wondered is, like, some Ubers now, you can get them to stop along the way, like, for something. Like, what if you had an emergency and needed to stop? Like, how do you communicate with it? That's the things I would want to know. I'm always like thinking about what if this happened? What would you do?
Yeah. Well, on that screen, there was a do you need assistance button.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what would have happened had we hit that. And also know, Josh and I sat in the back seat and it started on down the road. Down this, so we were on a little tiny side street is where I were. So it's not, gosh, what do like?
Oh, it's,
8 houses on one side kind of thing.
Here,
so it's not a very long street. So it didn't take but a second to get to the end of the street. But I was still getting situated because I had your phone, my phone. I was, I had not buckled up yet. And when it got to the stop sign, it would not move until I buckled up. And so I was in the back, so it made sure that both of us were buckled before it moved forward.
And since we didn't know how it worked, the reason you have my phone is I panicked because it said something on there about using your phone to open the door or unlock the door. And I was like, wait a minute, because if a driver's driving you, the one thing I'm giving up is being able to track you, because that's one of the safety features on Uber or Lyft is being able to share your location with somebody that you can record, all that stuff. But I was like, I was envisioning you guys getting trapped inside the car, not being able to get out or something, like one of those horror stories. So I sent my phone with you too, just because, but you didn't need it.
And we didn't need the phone. Yeah. We stopped and the voice came on and said, pull the handle once to unlock it, pull it twice to open the door.
So
make sure you have all your belongings,
So talk about too, your other adventure. Like where you guys went.
Yeah. So then where we were going was the underground Atlanta, which I have not been to the underground probably since the mid 90s. So 30 years ago it's been since I've been to the underground. Last time I was there.
I just remember it being like a mall.
It was like a mall. There was like shops and all this stuff
under there.
They've converted almost all of it now, I feel like, or at least the part we were at, to concert venues. There was even a comedy club down there, the Atlanta Comedy Club.
People should know for context too, the sub name or whatever of the place you were going, the different ones.
It was called the Masquerade is the name of the music venue. And the Masquerade has 4 different concert venues that are all side by side by side. And there are various sizes. I think the largest is like 1,200 people, all the way down to, I think the smallest is like 200, 250, something like that. So there's Masquerade, there's the Heaven Concert Hall, Hell Concert Hall,
I was like, these are some interesting names.
Purgatory Concert Hall, and the Altar Concert Hall. We were in Hell.
Which I was just like,
kind of felt
is
like that
this
at
what I'm
times.
supposed to put
But we're
in
down there
that? I
because
thought you-
there was
the-
a rapper, indie rapper that Josh likes. Kuru is his name.
Yes.
Kuru.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't let Josh go there by himself. I would just,
Yeah.
like,
We're not that like hip or progressive or like tired of parenting.
I-
We're gonna
after
be like
going,
that.
I might now, you
Right,
know.
but you didn't know
But at the time,
crowd.
you just don't know the crowd. And the only thing I had to compare it to was Osama
San.
back in the day. But we get there just a little before doors are supposed to open. And it's all kids that look Josh's age. Like they're all 16 to 18-year-olds.
Yeah, usually they're like, you could tell they were
And-
15 or 16-year-olds because
Yeah.
when parents dropped off.
It was definitely a bunch of kids' parents dropped off. It was a lot of people by themselves. Like,
Which I thought was so
girls and
interesting.
guys
You could
that
tell that they were by
Yeah,
themselves,
they were
not
by
needing
themselves.
somebody
No.
or anything, just by themselves.
and very diverse. I
Yeah.
mean, very diverse. It was probably
Except in age. No diversity in
okay.
age.
Yeah, it was very, very, yeah. Diversity in that probably, man, I don't know. I would say a third black, a third white, and the other third Asian and Hispanic, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was very multicultural.
Mhm.
And
Except everybody was 15 to 20.
yeah,
You
15 to
said-
20.
Yeah.
I was the oldest person in there by at least 20 years.
Yeah.
There was nobody older than 30. And there's probably 350 people at this
Mhm.
concert. And we went up and stood in the balcony. There's no seats, so it's standing room only. I had read online.
As are all these concerts I kids
Yes.
want to go to now.
I had read online that if you can get front row balcony,
Mm-hmm.
center stage, it is the best view, the best sound. So I told Josh, I was like, if it's open, I'm going to go up there. So I went up there and I was just like, oh, this is the spot.
Mhm.
And so I texted Josh because he was in line to get merchandise. So he came up there. He's like, oh, this is awesome. So that's where we stood. We stood center stage, front row, upper deck, or balcony, which was still very close. It wasn't like you were that far away from the stage.
My favorite is, though, I asked you if any of the language is inappropriate, and you said it was so loud you couldn't hear.
I could not understand one word that was said the whole night. Nothing. I understood
Because
nothing.
I was like, is this really bad language? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, so it started at 8. The first girl came out. It was a girl. She was a DJ, and she just was playing music and sounds and beats like a DJ
y'all
does.
showed me the video, and it's like she had pink lights, and Maria would have approved, and like it's just like that little
Yeah, she would grab a mic every once in a while and be like, ATL, let me hear ya. And everybody would scream, and then she'd go back to boop, 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 like whatever.
Yeah.
And she did it for like 30 minutes, and then she got off. The next person, boom, right on stage. An Asian guy, same thing. He was a DJ. He did it for 30 minutes. He went off right at 9. There's like about a 15-minute of dead time. And then 9:15, the main act come out, Kuru, who's just a blonde-haired 20-year-old guy.
But he actually
And-
has a microphone
and he raps.
sings.
He doesn't sing. He
sorry.
raps in auto-tune.
And by the way,
But-
this started a huge kind of debate with Josh, who got very offended because we were saying, if you're just going to sing with auto-tune, how's that any different than us just like using AI and making up songs? And Josh says, because with auto-tune, it's still your voice and you still have to be able to hit these notes and you still have to have engineers do stuff. And anyway, I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I could do what that kid did last night.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
that's
just
what I was gonna say. I don't know why. And then Josh is like implied that we were old heads who didn't understand because we are of a generation where we
We
don't
actually
know.
had to have talent and
Yeah,
sing.
exactly. Because he's like, now everyone auto tunes, and that's when you were like Eddie Vedder auto tunes. And Josh was like, no. And he's like, but he's like, from that generation. And you're like, but he's still making new music. He's not auto tuning, Anyway, so it's just, I don't know.
I mean, think about it. They made Milli Vanilli give back their Grammy
I know.
Award.
That's what I'm saying.
If
like,
Milli Vanilli was here today, they would win multiple Grammy Awards and
Right.
wouldn't have to give back anything.
Right, because everybody would be like, ooh, they'd be like selling out places. They'd be in the Masquerade
They
or
wouldn't
whatever.
care. Like,
Yeah.
nobody cares anymore. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
don't understand.
so
I mean, it's
bizarre.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so Kuru came out. The girl who was the DJ at first was his DJ. She was playing all the tracks, and he was doing what he does.
Yeah.
Kids were eating it up, man. They were loving it.
And I thought you were going to say it was really hot, but you said it was almost cold in there. Usually these concerts are hot.
And I bet
like,
downstairs it was hot.
Yeah.
Upstairs, there wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they had the AC pumping. And so, yeah, I was comfortable. I didn't break a sweat the entire night.
But you said like a sauna, there was a mosh pit. People, did you have any referees at this one?
There's no referees. There should have been.
Tell them your plan, though, about like how polite everybody was to you and your new plan of the type of shirt you're going to get.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because I was the oldest. So again, because I was on the balcony, I could look down. I could see. I looked at every human being in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was the oldest person by a solid 20 years.
Yeah.
Nobody else was over the age of 30.
Yeah.
Nobody. I'm not sure there were 2 people over the age of 25.
Right.
So I was definitely the oldest. I looked the oldest. But everybody was super polite to me. If somebody bumped into me, they were like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay. Like, hey, no problem. I'm sorry. And then I went to the bathroom at one point, and when I walked in the restroom, there was like 3 boys kind of hanging out in there.
Yeah.
They weren't like, well, I walked in and they just kind of looked at me and they just stopped talking and walked out. And I was like, that's weird. And then I used the restroom. I went over to wash my hands. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, it dawned on me. I was like, I bet they think I'm an undercover cop.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you they think that I'm some type of just security, narc, like somebody there that, I just I think I could have that look.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking that what I want to do now is order a shirt off of Amazon that says security and wear that to these concerts now, just so kids stay out of my way.
Yeah.
I can go, I can do whatever, and no kid, every kid,
scary.
I'm just gonna like part in the Red Sea.
Yeah.
Like kids will just step out of my way because they'll see security on my shirt. So that's my new plan. I don't know.
I had some FOMO though, because I didn't get to go, but I did something that so there's a few people that I know from Salem or different stages of life. It was also crazy. One of the ladies I used to work with at Wake has moved down here. So it's just been neat. All the people that have reached out and like, when are you here? But a ton of the people had told me they were going to be out of town. But one of the ladies that's here, she's a nurse, and we were talking about trying to get together for lunch or something next week. But I'm very booked. And because you are on a campus and your car is so far away, it's not easy to just like go meet somebody for lunch or anything. Like most of the time I'm just doing like a protein drink or something really quick. But so I just spontaneously messaged this lady, Rebecca, that I went to Salem with. And I was like, hey, I know this is the last minute, but if you want to do something, I'm free to like walk to dinner or something. And she's like, I was kind of like just vegging out today. And she's like, but I think I need to, that would be good. And so she spontaneously, we had no plans or anything. Like, I'm here in this city. I haven't seen her. I mean, she has been back for a few Salem like reunion type things and I've seen her, but she just showed up. She drove here to our house and then we walked like Mike's shaking his head. No, like, what are y'all doing? We walked and I was worried about us walking because it had started to thunder. There have been some crazy. There have been some rough
Atlanta
thunder.
is not in a drought.
Yeah,
North Carolina's in a drought.
Yeah,
Atlanta's not.
They have had some thunderstorms,
rain every day.
Every day.
I feel like I'm in Orlando.
Yes, that is what it feels like. It feels like around that afternoon you're going to have a really bad thunderstorm, and then you would think it would cool things off, but no, it just makes steam rise off the pavement. That's what's happening. But yeah, we walked and had dinner and then came back. And so I got to talk to her. And then I caught up on my latest episode of Silo. That's what I did while y'all were at your concert. That was my excitement.
You had a good night by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better night than Maria's been having, probably.
Yeah.
So Maria is a lot like Beth. And I'm learning this. And I don't. We've talked about this personality-wise, travel-wise, enthusiasm for life. We've discovered this week she is also, or at least I have, she's also like you in that she hates to be alone. She has to have a human being. You don't even have to be showing her any attention, but she wants another human being in the house.
Yeah.
We left on Monday, came down here. On Tuesday, I talked to her. When are y'all coming back? like already.
Yeah.
And so I texted your mom and my mom. I said, can y'all check on Maria? I think she's lonely. And my mom replied, haven't you only been gone 2 days? I was like, yes. But it is every time I've spoken with her, when are y'all coming home again? Like, she's just.
But it's like if we're home, I mean, she might come watch a TV show or something, but half the time she's not with us.
No.
That's the part that makes no sense. It's not like we're sitting there like, oh my gosh, let's do all these things together.
But she is
hours
you.
and hours.
You don't care. You just want another human being in that house. You were like, I can't be here alone. I can't. Like Josh and I are here for 2 weeks because we didn't want you to be down here alone. Because you were just like, it'll be like prison, if you had to come down here by yourself. And so we're down here with you, and Maria's up there by herself in North Carolina, lonely as can be, even though she's been working every day.
Yeah.
And sleeping
Making
in
up
and working,
shifts.
like doing whatever.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't even be seeing her anyway.
Yeah.
But so I thought that was funny. And real quick, I know we kind of got a little bit over time to give a life update for myself.
Oh, and then don't let me forget, I want to say one other thing about this house.
I did not make it to the next round of the Ultimate Comic Challenge.
I think it was because I didn't go.
I was definitely. I think I was
have
one
been to
vote short.
all of your shows.
And you didn't go.
I know. I'm like, I feel so bad. Yeah.
You should feel bad.
Yeah.
And anybody listening that thought they were going to go and didn't, shame on you. So, I did not make it. So, but hey, you know what? I made it to the third round. That's top 30. It started out with 108 comics.
And most of the people that have made it are people, as we've talked about, that are trying
everybody
to be
that made it
professionals
have been doing
and
it for years.
traveling.
Yes.
And they're making it a true career.
They're
And
trying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel I've only been doing this since March. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
to make it to the top 30, I feel pretty good about.
Yeah.
But I do have my next show is coming up August the 1st. It's going to be a gala fundraiser for Friends of the Stoke Shelter.
And if you really care about Mike, you will do what Sue has done, because she's gotten like a whole table of people to come.
Got
She's
loyal
on it.
listener Sue and
Yes.
her husband and some other friends are coming.
Yes.
So that's neat. So I'll be doing the gala thing on August the 1st, August the 8th. A week later, I'm going to be back at the Palmetto Theater with Taylor Vaden. He's going to be playing the role of Elvis this time. And then a week after that, August 14th, Taylor and I have another Praise and Punchline show we're going to be doing for our church. So
you're very busy.
Yeah. So, even though the third round was the end of the road for me at the Idiot Box and the Ultimate Comic Challenge, I got a couple of weeks off and then it's back to it. And I got, 3 weeks of back-to-back shows. And so yeah, I've got some animal jokes.
Yeah, can't wait.
I feel like I need to have something
you have to cater
specific,
to the audience.
the whole,
this is for the animal shelter.
15, 20 minutes of shelter jokes, but animal shelter jokes, but I did throw in some cat and dog type jokes in a way that I think is funny.
Are you going to talk about Dog with a Blog, that show that used to come on? Remember that?
You think anybody remembers that?
People are like, what's a blog? That's what they'd say now. But I don't understand this term, blog. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my life update.
Yeah.
Now, what's yours?
Okay. So last thing. This house, the one crazy thing is about it. So the washer and dryer are downstairs, but I don't know how many of our listeners, my grandma had an unfinished basement. So and what an unfinished basement is a hole in the ground.
Yeah, now when you hear unfinished basement, you at least have 4 walls.
Yes, and these are people unfinished basement now. It's we have concrete down and cinder blocks on the side. So it's unfinished, as in we didn't put up paneling and paint it. No, this is unfinished basement like my grandma had. You walk down the steps and there is a wall of rock red dirt.
Dirt all the way around it. It's just a hole in the ground.
Yes, and it's wooden steps, a very small light. You're walking down these narrow wooden steps surrounded by dirt on all sides. There is no outlet of that other than the steps. It's not because most of the basements, now my grandma's wasn't the unfinished one, but my parents have a basement and theirs would be unfinished in the sense of it's concrete and then the cinder block walls, but even they have like door and light to the outside. There's an exit outside of the steps. You're not completely enclosed.
This is a bunker.
Yes. So, yeah. And like my grandma would do canning and stuff and have that down there, but it always creeped me out. So now I have to get all the laundry done when people are here. And that was the one thing I did at one point when I was watching Silo, think that I heard something come from the basement because
it's 1937. There's going to be some ghosts in this house.
You have been making comments the entire time we've been here. Like, because I said today, I was like, well, the one thing I wish I had a full length mirror so I could see, that my work outfits are okay. And you're like, well, they didn't want to have that because people kept seeing the ghost or kept seeing a figure in the mirror or something. And I'm like, you are not helping right now with
I was
this.
hoping you would. You've not been down there.
I went down to do the towels this morning.
You have not been. Well, let me finish. You have not been down there when I've been up and about.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do is
if you lock me in there, I will lose my mind.
That's one thing I thought about doing is locking you in, turning out the light and locking you down there.
That's it. If you never see Mike again, you will know that he locked me in.
The second thing I wanted to do was recreate a movie scene. I wanted to take one of those laundry baskets and lower it down and be like, it put the lotion on the skin. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like in Silence of the Lambs where you're going to be kept.
That is exactly what it feels like. Yes. So anyway, just had to get that out there because we have to go down and get the towels out so we can shower. So,
Not me. I'm leaving tomorrow. So, after that, it's up to you and Josh.
That's why I can't do any more laundry. I have to bring all my laundry home. But like, it'll be, even if something like destroys all of our clothes, I'll be like, I'm sorry, Josh, we just have to go to Walmart and buy new clothes because or buy new towels. I'm not going back down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
It is.
It's creepy.
It's really creepy.
Have you looked at the attic?
I didn't go up, but when I was looking down to the basement to decide if I could really go down there this morning to do the laundry by myself, I saw the attic.
It's so creepy. But the house is cute.
No, the house is adorable, but it's just, it is
a 1937 ghost house.
And I think for me too, the other thing I'll say is because my grandma had this, it wasn't foreign to me. So as soon as you told me you're not going to believe what's downstairs, I knew it was probably going to be that, just a dugout hole in the ground. But it was still jarring because the other thing is I haven't thought about that with my grandma's basement. Since in years, because why would I think about it? And I was stunned. I don't know. Is that even still approved? Like if they're zoning expert or inspectors. Yeah.
Like you're standing on plywood. They just laid plywood down on the dirt floor. And you're down there standing on plywood. I won't give the address.
I don't want anything to happen to this house or anything. But I'm like, is that even allowed anymore? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem very, I don't know, whatever. But yeah. So my friend who came by last night, I think she thought that we bought the house and we're living here because I hadn't updated her on everything that happened. And she was like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't your house. I'm like, oh no. Because if I did open the door just to show her the basement, I couldn't find the light. And I'm like, I think there's a light here. And she's like, oh, that is creepy. And it's like, yeah, that's why I wouldn't be buying this place. Wow. So yeah, excitement there. Yeah. Oh, and we need to tell people to give us some questions. So far, I think the only question I've gotten is Marissa, who wanted me to pick my favorite Salem sister, which is trying to pick your favorite child or your favorite dog you ever had. No.
No, I am. I will pick my favorite Salem sister.
No,
I am.
No. You better
I'm
not.
Going to. You can't stop me.
You're going to make us lose listeners and people are going to be hurt.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to pick somebody that doesn't listen. Berta's not going to listen, so I'm not going to say Berta.
But Dave does.
Well, you know what? Dave can be my favorite Salem sister husband, whatever you...
What do you even call that? Yeah, we'll have to think about that.
Husband-in-law. I don't know what he would be. And then, I'm not going to say Casey or Berta or anybody like that don't listen. So, of course, I'm going to name somebody that listens.
What if they surprise you and they're like, I've listened to every episode and cataloged it and taken notes on it?
Well, I know some are more enthusiastic than others. And so I'm just telling you.
Anyway,
right now, there's at least two people that are neck and neck.
Is it Katrina and Marissa?
I can't say who. I cannot say who, but Next week, I will answer that question.
Oh my gosh.
Who was my favorite Salem sister?
You are a terrible person. I can't. That's why, too, you say things like that to our kids, though, because, like, we'll be sitting at something and you'll be like to Josh, like, Josh, that's why you're my favorite. You'll say that to him. I'm like, you can't say that.
I'm a man of the truth, Beth.
Oh.
I speak truth.
No.
That's what
Okay,
God has empowered me to do.
Yes. Okay. All right.
But anyway, leave us questions.
Yes.
If you have a question, next week is our 100th episode.
Yeah.
We want to just be like, ask Mike and Beth anything, and we'll just try our best to answer it.
Otherwise, you
And-
might hear me talk about my theories on public transportation and the impact it has on society or something. No, that's what you get. We should like threaten them with a punishment like that if they don't like, it's like.
They will just turn off the podcast.
Well, that's
We're not
true.
like they can't punish people. They just stop listening.
I know. Oh, well, I don't know what we have to do to incentivize people to listen, but hopefully they will.
No, just send us questions
Yeah, please.
or what to make some up.
Yes. Otherwise, you just get to hear more of like this nonsense that we talk about all the time
Yeah.
in our show about nothing that's about something or
That's right.
whatever it was, that quote.
Yeah.
We need to write down those quotes so we can put them on a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was about do it. We've gone
Yeah.
a little bit over time.
Yeah.
And so from location in Decatur, Georgia,
Yeah.
this has been Mike.
And Beth.
And this has been Hey, Are You Still There?